Hey everybody, I'm here because I'm going to make myself some cabbage today, and I just wanted to bring you guys in and let you see how I make my cabbage. So first of all, I'm going to be using some green pepper, onion, of course the cabbage, some carrots, basil, pink sea salt, and olive oil. Okay, so I already started chopping my onions, like them nice and long like this. Heat up stove. I just finished cooking some earlier also. It was delicious. A little bit more. A little bit thinner. I like my onions kind of big, but I cut them down because sharing with my daughter, and she doesn't quite like her onions the same. So I'll cut them down some. I normally cut onions better than this, but trying to, for the sake of time, just go ahead and get it done. Use half of this green pepper. Get that here. Might need more, but we'll see. Go ahead and add some oil. And I'm using a deep pot like this because of everything that I'm going to be cooking in there, and cabbage is really big, so it's like, you know, unless I had a big deep frying pan, which I don't, this is better to get hot. And then I'm going to, I like these thin, I don't like them too thick. And then I'm going to put these in half. Looks like I might need a little bit more of that green pepper. Like these to be quite even. Green pepper. Half. Now, I like to put all my vegetables into a bowl. The carrot I'm going to leave separate because when I add it, I'm going to add it to the cabbage before I add the green peppers and onion. Green peppers and onion are going to go last so that they can still have some nutrients left in them. The way that I do my cabbage is with that little chunky piece out of there. And I like all of the cabbage. Some people don't like parts of it, you know. But I like it all. So I try not to waste any part of it. Okay, turn this down some. And yeah, I'm doing a bunch of different multitasking today. So that's another project that I'm doing. But so we don't want this piece, so I'm getting rid of it. And so I want mine sliced, you know, nicely. Kind of thin. I don't want it, I'm going to take this off the fire for a little bit, and I don't want it to overheat. So I'm going to slice mine like this, and I previously rinsed this, but I'm going to slice it this way, and get it as thin as possible. You put it back on heat now. So I can start putting my cabbage in there. Look at that. Yummers. To burn, so we have to be careful. I want it more like a fried cabbage, but and at the end I'll let it simmer so that it can get a little softer. But this will be like a sauteed, I should say, sauteed cabbage, because I'm not putting very much olive oil in. You can, I always do this by you know, I wing it, I don't measure it. I know what needs to go in there. I stir it around a little bit. And as I said before, I want these thinly sliced because I don't want it to be like when you make cabbage soup, so more like a salad or something, you know? I'm the queen of salad lately, and I love salads and stuff, and don't want to waste anything. And my favorite part is the green part, yummers. Too bad cabbage doesn't have more of the green stuff. Slice these like this. Love this part of the cabbage, so good. Makes it so beautiful. I love the veggies. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So, seems like we have a lot there, but it's going to, you know, cook down. So it's probably looks like didn't even put all this much in there, but that's why, as I said before, I like to start out with a pan like this. So I got my onions ready and everything, using some basil and I love basil. I guess you could tell. And some pink sea salt. And it comes out kind of thin, so that wasn't a lot of salt. It looked like it was, but probably not even half a teaspoon. But then I won't add any more. I'm not a salt junkie. So that's enough for everybody. That I just looks like I need a little bit more oil. As I stir it around and I look, I don't know if you can see, but as you stir it around and you can see how the shininess of it, see what needs to be added, and it needs a little bit more olive oil. Okay, so we're going to let that do its thing on kind of a low heat lid. And while that simmers, I'll bring you back. Okay, everybody, we're back. About look at that smell. About it's been like 20-30 minutes later. It's beginning to cook down, and I'm not sure about you all, but I love mine to begin to brown a little bit. You can see that. I hope you can. It's starting to brown a bit. Yum. So stir it around real good. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, everything is to your taste, is to add my carrots. Shredded carrots. You can chop up carrots if you want, but I want shredded carrots in mine. And these are really good for raw salads too. I don't know why I think that carrots and cabbage go together so well, but anyway, I want them to cook down with the cabbage the rest of the way. But I like my vegetables to be kind of firm, like al dente. Got about something. Cover up this other lid. Something else that I'm cooking over here. We need to dry it. Yeah, but I like my veggies like you know, well, people who eat pasta say al dente. I like mine to be a little firm. You know, they don't have to be crunchy because you're cooking them, you know, but just firm, you know. So if you want them crunchy, you wouldn't cook them, but I don't want all of the nutrients gone out of my vegetables. So that's why, for one, you know, I wanted to do like saute as opposed to with the cabbage today, as opposed to just completely cooking it the old-fashioned way. I didn't want it to completely cook down. So that's where I'm at now. And the last thing that I'll do is add my green pepper and onion. A lot of people use sugar, and that's the tradition I came from as well, being African American. One of the reasons I want to start sharing more videos with you all is because I realized when I first started down this path back in, I believe it was 95, I really wanted to change my eating habits. I had to do a lot of reading, and one of the things that held me back for a very long time until 2008, when I became vegetarian, February of 2008. I talk a lot about that. One of the things that held me back was that I didn't know what to cook. You know, so if you're used to soul food, you don't know what to cook. Yeah, you're gonna be unhealthy. You know, and all human beings. I find that for me, if it tastes good, I'm going to eat. So for me, I have, I think anyway, because whatever I cook, my family and friends tend to love, and so I've kind of mastered sauces. And so I just realized that if I could have a nice little sauce on it, it doesn't have to be really sweet. It doesn't have to, have too much sugar or anything like that. And when I say sugar, in my house, I only use honey. White sugar does not come in my house. White sugar has left the building in the 90s in my household. I don't buy the traditional big jug of cooking oil. These are the kinds of oils, the only kinds of oils that you'll see in my home. And I think that, you know, the reason I'm sharing also is because a lot of people say, Chauny, you look so young, you know. And I just started, I don't know, one day I was praying about it and everything, and I just realized that maybe I look so young because of the way that I eat, you know. Even when I eat bad, or, you know, go off of my diet or go out of the way, you know, the worst things that I eat is like rice. But like, for example, this is, you know, for my grandson when he's here. These are teas that I drink, different teas and stuff. I love teas, but these are, I don't eat this. This is really unhealthy, you know. But my grandson is young and he can still eat this kind of stuff, you know. Even my daughter, she's 17, she can eat this kind of stuff. But I can't eat that anymore, you know. I'm done with that for now. But as I said, you'll see a lot of honey in my house. That's what we use. And what a trick, a really good trick for those who love salt, is we take lemon or lime, and you can squeeze a half of a lemon. You know, if you wanted to salt this dish, The way that I salt a dish, in fact, well, I already put some pink sea salt, but the way that I really salt a dish is, you take about half a teaspoon of salt for the entire pot, and then you take half a lemon or half of a lime. Just play with it and see what you like, and you squirt it in there. And when the lime and the salt mix together, this is something I just discovered, that it just gives it a bigger, more salty flavor. That flavor that most people who are attracted to the sour part of our tongues, they love that part of their tongue more than the sweet part, which was my problem, the sweet part of the tongue. So to help those who have salt issues, you can still use your salt, and use pink sea salt is the best because it's not been tampered with at all. It's all natural. So but sea salt period is much better. Never use the old Morton's or whatever we used to use when I was young. But yeah, that's a way, if you really like salt, that you can limit your salt. And you can even just pinch it after putting the squeezing the half lemon or whole lemon. Just do it to your taste, or lime, and it just brings out the flavor of the salt, and it makes it seem like you have a lot more salt on your dish than what you do. And then the other thing is getting used to things that taste good and are good for you. So when I bite into something that I eat now, I just feel excited, because it's almost like, when you get away from eating well, even when you know how to do it, and you go back to it, it's almost like a homecoming or family reunion or revival or something in your mouth. But just eating all the garbage that we do in America for so many years, and then you get back to just a nice, healthy, wholesome salad or something, and you really taste those vegetables and chew them, savor them in your mouth slowly, one by one, and you're like, wow, how come I wasn't eating this before? That's what happened to me anyway. So, and for those of us who pray, just pray that God give you an appreciation for the things that He created, because I swear to you that I don't know how we get, well, I do know some of it, but that's a long story. But our minds get to a point where we really start seeing this garbage as really good. But this stuff that, I'm cooking now in my household is really good. And it's not something that I am forcing myself to eat. This is something that I want to eat, and I'm happy to eat. So, but long story short, a lot of people like dump sugar, white table sugar, in their cabbage. If you're from a family where you grew up eating and cooking soul food, that's what we do. Sweet potatoes, beans. I mean, I can name it. It's spaghetti. Some families do spaghetti. I know all about it. Even if we didn't do it, I know, because I come from that. But I've watched people get sick in my family, and I wanted something different. Some of them have passed away already, and some of them are still struggling now. I was struggling. I'm watching, like I said, all of us family members struggling at the same time. I said, God is telling us something. I want to live. So I'm going to eat to live now. And, and so one of the things that I discovered is that I guess I mastered sauces, because my taste buds is what gets me in trouble. And my family and friends love my cooking. So one of the things that you can do is, trick that I use is to take, because honey can be a bad thing too. You can't just dump it in everything, okay? So be careful when you use honey. But when you use your honey, you want to take, what I do is a tablespoon a teaspoon of honey. No more than a tablespoon, depends on what you're making. If I'm making myself a salad dressing, I will use a tablespoon. But to season this, if I wanted to have sugar in it, you can squeeze yourself the juice from an orange, and you can take a teaspoon of honey and stir that up in there, and you can use that juice, because you're using honey, which is quite healthy for you. And it's better if you have raw honey. This is just the honey that I have right now. Raw honey is the best. And you're using fruit juices. That's another thing. Experiment with fruit juices. Oranges. Grind up some strawberries with the oranges sometimes. Citrus fruits work better for seasoning your foods and your meats and stuff like that. I have found. So that's a way that you can season your cabbage without having to have the white sugar in your house. It's really not good for you. I don't even like sugar in the raw. I don't deal with it anymore. As I said, I deal with honey now, and I don't use a whole lot of it. I don't have to, because everything was sweet, sweet, sweet. When I went back to my regimen, this last time after I came off the fast, when I told you guys I felt like I was going to die that day and everything, what I did was I said, you know what, I'm going to go cold turkey with any kind of sweet. And I didn't even allow myself to have the honey on anything for a couple of days or so, you know. So, but if you use honey in your sauces and things like that, be careful, because coming off of sugar, remember, it's an addiction. It's just like if you came off of alcohol, your body's probably going to replace it. I've had friends of mine go from say, oh, I stopped drinking alcohol. Next thing you know, they're eating candy bars and apple pies and all this kind of stuff, and they were never sweet eaters, but their body is trying to replace it. Don't let your body start trying to replace the white sugar that you get out of your house with honey. Don't do it, you know. If you crave sweets, what I found for myself, as long as you're not getting sugar from anywhere else, and for me, I don't. Right now, I'm dropping weight extremely quickly because I am eating basically vegetables and salads. I am not having any kind of grains. I don't eat any kind of grains. I don't want it. There's all kinds of grains that you can eat that are healthy for you, but I prefer not to. I had a bowl of cereal one day. That's grains, and I usually only have like kashi goling or raisin bran in the house. I don't want to have these things because these things just basically turn into sugar or fat in my body. That's just what they do. My body does not do well with grains. I realized at 42, finally, I'm just a vegetable person, you know, and that is what my body responds to, is when I eat vegetables, you know, and fresh salads and things like that. So the cereals and things like that that I had here, I'm not going to have it. Tell you something else is because I eat vegetables and salads all the time, because as I said, in my opinion, for my body, what I've noticed over the years, especially between 08 and now, when I dropped all the weight and then gained it back, when I tried to deal with breads, I even had been using the double fiber bread. Bread doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me, you know. So I have it here, but I'm not having it because I don't want it. And like I said, when I start doing this, the weight just drops off of me the way it's supposed to. I don't have to fight for it. I can exercise 20 to 30 minutes a day and I'm fine. But any other time, I have to break my neck, kill myself, go nuts, you know, just to get something to come off. And it's because of what we're eating. Not having any other meat other than fish, that really helps, you know. So you got to find out what works for you. I'm just not a grain person. Anybody who wants to call, comment and say something about me eating grains, I don't want any of that. You know, I know there's grains that are healthy for you, but for me, I'm not interested in grains. I get my protein from protein and fiber from beans. I love beans. I am a beans girl, okay? So I do get my protein and fiber. I'm going to share another recipe with you before the end of the week. I'll share a second one, and I will show you what I do with these lovely beans. But I love those beans, and I love pintos. But I'm a beans girl. I can eat, I don't care for lima beans. Can't stand them. Kidney beans, I'll eat them, but I don't really like them, so I won't, you know, break my neck to go get any of those and cook them. But I love enough of the variety of beans. I like black eyed peas. I like green peas, frozen peas. But I love enough of beans that I can get all the fiber and protein that I need from them. Now, the other thing that I was going to mention is that because of the fact that I eat so much salad and vegetables only, like this is going to be a meal. This is my meal for the day. Like cabbage, it will be what I will eat off of for today, you know. And what I've eaten, because I made a little bit earlier. But I didn't do all this to it. I just made it quickly because I was really hungry. And like I say, I'm just really strict and I don't want to, you know, get away from what I'm doing as far as my eating. But one of the benefits is that whereas a lot of people are afraid of them, I don't have to be afraid of these. I lost just so much weight, and I'm going to tell you something. When I eat, okay, if you guys, anybody wants to try my little regimen, what I do, this is just the way I was living for a little more than a year, and the weight fell off of me just like it's starting to do again now. I don't have to be afraid of white potatoes. I have white potatoes when I want. I have sweet potatoes when I want. I eat what I want when I want. I'm not. So the thing is, basically, long story short, if you're eating the right things, you don't have to be afraid to eat. Okay? I can eat, you know, big tubs of salad or whatever. Why? There's nothing in it. There's no bacon bits. There's no sour cream and cheese. Not good for African Americans. Not good for hardly anybody, but really unhealthy, killing you, full of cancer. I'm going to try to find some links and put in the description of this video so you can go and read up on some of this stuff. They taught us to drink milk, give it to our babies, you know. Cow's milk is filthy. You don't need to have it in your body. It's killing you. It's killing America, okay? So I don't have cheese, and I don't have croutons, and I don't have bacon bits. And so what's in my salad? There's nothing in there. And when I do decide I want like a honey mustard dressing, it's a tablespoon of honey, some olive oil, some seasonings like basil or whatever, and the honey, and stir it up, and then drizzle about a tablespoon and a half over my salad, because I usually eat a nice big healthy salad, and that's it. When I strayed away, this is the kind of stuff that I prefer to have in my home. It's brown rice. So if I eat rice, I guess, you know, my body wasn't doing as bad whenever I would stray away. Now I'm gonna tell you, this last 6 months, something totally different happened to me. It wasn't brown rice that I was eating. When I was taking care of my mom, I got to a point where, I was helping to take care of my mom, I should say. I got to a point where I was eating things that I don't normally eat at all. I ate at McDonald's, y'all. Because it was just like, you know, you need to hurry up and get something to eat, you know. I was eating the oodles and noodles I showed you, you know. That kind of thing. So that's what happened to me. But usually if I'm at home and I had gotten off of, you know, my path, I was eating brown rice. I mean, you know, I might have had some mashed potatoes or something like that, you know, with some dairy in it or something. But I don't want any of that in my body anymore. You know, but so my thing is, like, even if you go away from your diet or your regular, you know, eating regimen, what do you have? What do you end up eating? You know, is it something really, really bad? Or is it just like brown? My body said, no, just stop eating all of that right there and we'll be all right, okay? That's how my body is. So that's the way I'm doing. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I just want to share with people, because I know that there are people in my family and amongst my friends that don't know how to eat. When we want to change, we're like, okay, so what do I cook? All I know how to do is cook stuff you know, fix a nice big plate of clogged arteries, you know what I mean? Make you a heart attack on the bun, you know what I'm saying? That's all they know how to cook. So that's why I'm going to share what I know and how you can get over these things. You know, I'm not the only one who eats for taste, you know. So you gotta use sugar, use the honey, experiment with sauces, because if you can make a nice sauce and drizzle it over whatever you're eating, you're gonna like it 10 times better than if you try to just eat it, you know, plain. If I had this cabbage plain bare and, you know, served it to you, a lot of people would not eat it at all because they eat for flavor, they eat for taste. So you have to figure out, you gotta master sauces and things like that so that you can eat better, okay? I'm gonna come back when it's time for me to wrap this cabbage up, and so I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back. It was kind of hard to get the camera at a good angle. I just poured in the mixture of green pepper and onion, because we're to a point where it's almost done. And I decided for mine, I am going to use a little bit of honey. The other reason, I believe anyway, with cabbage that the sweetener was probably originally used, and I guess in soul food we just got carried away and started making the whole dish a big sweet pot of cabbage. I think it's to cut the bitterness in the cabbage, because I noticed that cabbage is bitter. It's one of my favorite vegetables, by the way, but there's a bitterness to it, and so I'm assuming that, you know what, it never meant for us to eat it the way we started eating it in the hood, you know. It's probably just meant to cut the bitterness from the cabbage. And so but anyway, I'm gonna use my honey for that, and my cabbage, a little bit of honey, and I'm going to use my half of this lemon. I am going to use that, well, not even a whole half, but a section of it. Use a little bit of the juice to bring out that salt, like I said. And there we go. We got that. Turn it up some, because it's kind of, I had it simmering low, but it's about done now, so I want it to kind of get those onions and stuff sauteed, and I will let you see the finished product. Let's see, my honey. Let's see, a teaspoon of honey. I don't want to make it too sweet, and you may need more than a teaspoon, but at this point, that's what I'm going to start out with is a teaspoon of honey in my cabbage. Stir it around with a little spoon. Try to get most of the honey off of heat. Helps to get all that honey off. Yeah, so if you taste it and you know it's not good enough or whatever, I don't know if you want to put the lemon. Like I said, I took this lemon and just squeezed a little in there, and there's still a lot of juice left for another dish. Just a little, just to bring out the flavor of the salt, you know. That's all I use that for. And then the honey is to cut the sourness of the cabbage. And you can add that honey earlier on. I just, you know, got to talking and forgot about it. But the honey, you can add it a little earlier on. Those of you who might be doing it the traditional way, you might want to put a little bit of water in there. to your heart's content. I don't know how much water you would want in there, but I'm going to add a little bit because mine is getting dry. And this is a bottle of water I keep near the stove. Add a little bit at a time, and because I need to turn it up some, just a little so it won't start sticking to the bottom, because I like it brown. That's why I kind of do the saute thing. I like to brown the cabbage first and then steam it, you know. So yeah, that's where we are. It's just about done, and I'll bring you back when it's complete. Oh, part of this video I realized I think that my head is going to be cut off. I'm so sorry for that. This is the first time I cooked this way on camera, so I didn't realize I had to measure, you know, the angle of where my head is and everything. So I'm so sorry for that. I'll get it fixed on the next video. Okay guys, we're back, and cabbage is all done. I actually found it. Well, let me explain something else to you guys about my camera. My camera is broken. You know, the little piece right under the bottom that screws into the tripod, it's broken, so I'm having to rig it, stick something up in the hole to keep it steady. So that's why I couldn't do this before. And I'm just going to be able to do it for a minute, and I hope and pray that my camera does not fall off of the tripod. So I had to actually put a piece of cloth in between, and it's just really weird. I had to rig it. Something is wrong with the little piece. But yeah, that is my finished product. My cabbage is all done, and so I'm going to plate some of it. So that you guys can see the finished cabbage. 2 nice big scoops there. And there you are. There's my cabbage. Yummers. I'm about to go eat that. All right. You guys stay tuned for more wonderful recipes from Slimbyfaith. All right, be blessed.